Welcome to this week's version of Negro Please. I'm Dallas Scott, Mr. Hollywood Huff here, your co-host. We got two producers today, James and Quan the 5'9". We got a special guest, Mr. Eric Kelley.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Thanks for being here.
So before we get started, let's tell everybody who you are. You are Eric Kelley. You, at one time, spent 10 years with the U.S. Marshal's Office.
Yeah, my name is Eric Kelley. I spent 10 years for the Sheriff's Department in Missouri, the Cole County Sheriff's Office. Then I went to the U.S. Marshal Service, had a fugitive task force, kind of ran around, did a little this, did a little that, blew shit up, kicked doors in, dragged people around, took a place they didn't want to go.
So,
a lot of fun.
Tell me, so like everybody knows what the FBI is because the FBI is always on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you guys are jealous of that. What is he like? When I think U.S. Marshals, all I think is that U.S. Marshal is witness protection.
Okay, that's one of the things.
What does the U.S. Marshal's Office do?
They do a lot of things. One is witness protection. Obviously, people hear about that all the time, WITSEC. Primarily, they protect federal judges here, there, and everywhere. They also do a lot of stuff with fugitives, transportation of inmates to and from prison, courthouses, so forth and so on. So there's a variety of things. Then we've got other specialized tasks and stuff that we do.
So you said, I didn't know this. You said protect federal judges?
Yeah.
Are you like Secret Service type protect federal judges, or only those who have been threatened? Or
No, it's the same kind of thing. Federal judges, they work in the federal courthouse. U.S. Marshals are in the federal courthouses. They take care of the judges. Sometimes they take care of them at home. Sometimes they transport them all around. It depends on the particular judge, what area they're in. Depending on some circuits are a little bit more, let's say volatile than others. And then, of course, anything else that they need. So we are not jealous of the FBI because sometimes we tell them what to do. And they don't like it. I have stories.
We're going to get into some of your stories here. One of the reasons I wanted to, hey, Eric Worry's checking us out. Hey, thanks, Eric. Thanks for watching today. One of the reasons I wanted you on the show is because you're a black man. And people are going to look at you because you're black, and they're automatically going to assume that you are liberal.
That is correct.
You are liberal?
But no, that is not true. But that's the assumption.
That's the assumption, right? I met you because you teach self-defense and other types of classes, but you taught my conceal and carry class.
Yeah.
My CCW class.
Nevada CCW. Yeah, that's correct.
And I thought you had some really good stories in there, and you had some very interesting dialogue about certain things. And I thought these would be good things to talk about because lately we've been talking about all the stuff that's going on in the country between Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Rashard Brooks, and all these things that have been going on. But it's our opinions. We haven't had actually, we haven't had anybody in law enforcement willing to come on the show. Like we've asked people, but people like, well, I have this opinion, but I'm not going to share it.
Yeah.
So I know that you will share your opinions.
I will share. My big thing is, and it's very clear and it's very, very open. Everybody that knows me knows, I say what I mean what I say. Okay. Information is the key. And just like I say in my class, you need to know what you cannot do, should not do, will not do, and most importantly, why. Because that's what keeps you out of trouble. And then if you do get into trouble, you at least know what it is that you're supposed to do. And it makes a difference. Knowledge is king.
So would it be fair to say you're pro-gun?
I'm very pro-gun.
Right.
Obviously an instructor. Right. I've been for a long time.
I guess I consider myself pro-gun. Probably not as pro-gun as Steve.
Yeah.
But I think if you buy a gun, and we kind of talked about this before we started. In my opinion, if you buy a gun, you should have to take a class on how to use it.
Well, there's a couple of thoughts on that. The most important thing is a gun is, for people like me, a gun is a tool. It's a tool to do a job. It's a great thing. The problem is a lot of people will buy guns but have no knowledge of them, and they won't take the time to learn how to use them. No matter what you use the gun for, whether it's, let's say hunting, maybe you camp, fish, hike outside the middle of nowhere, a lot of crazy two-legged critters running around the state, or you're using it for target practice or anything else, put food on the table, practice, or in this case, self-defense. You should know how to use your tool. And I'll give you an example. If you're a mechanic and you're a crappy mechanic, you're not going to make a lot of money. People don't care, and they're not going to get their cars taken to you. But if you're a good one, they're going to come to you. If you're a welder, but you can't weld worth of crap, no one's going to come to you. So if you're going to have a gun, which is a tool, you need to know how to use it, regardless of what you're going to use it for.
All right. God, there's so much stuff we can get into right now. I'm trying to
Right.
find a direction to go here. Let's say this. All right. What's the most interesting case you think you've ever been in? And I'm sure there's some things you probably can't say about some cases. Maybe still, I don't know. You haven't been in the U.S. Marshal's office for a long time. I like the story about your girlfriend.
Yeah, that's a good one. You want me to tell a story?
Please. This is a great story.
So there was a woman in Kansas City she is in prison for the rest of her life. She is not on death row because in Missouri we generally don't put women on death row because we love them, even when they kill everybody that they know. Okay.
Wow.
So basically what happened was I went to one of the women's prisons. We were going to transport this one woman from one place to court. Then we were going to move her someplace else. There are a lot of things going on. I go there to get her. And as I park, unload my gun, put it in a case, put it in a box, go inside, go through the sally port, go through the main entrance, do all my paperwork, go through. As I'm walking through, there's an area that we call it's a common room. And I look in the common room and there's a supermodel in the common room. Like 5'11", 6 foot tall, blonde, gorgeous. One of those women that like, when she walks in the room, every guy goes, damn, she's fine.
Okay.
And every woman goes, I hate that bitch.
Right.
So I'm walking through it. I'm like, why is a supermodel in the common room? Interesting. So I go in and they bring my girl out, Cricket. She has a real name, but her nickname's Cricket. Cricket comes in, and Cricket, one of the reasons why she has that nickname is because she talks, talk, 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 talk. That's all she does. She comes in, gets one look at the supermodel in the common room, and zip, not a word. So they do what they need to do to get her ready, not a word. Get her in a jumpsuit, not a word. Chain her up, not a word. Fill out all the forms, sign everything, not a word. Right? Give her to me, not a word. And she knows me, partly because we've done business, 2, because I put her there, 3, because she's a snitch, so I can use her for A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So we leave, everything's done. We walk by, she hadn't said a word. We get outside, hadn't said a word. We get through the sally port area, hadn't said a word. We get out to where the cars are, hadn't said a word. Get in the car, hadn't said a word. Go through the first set of gates, hadn't said a word. Go through the second set of gates, hadn't said a word. Go down the road, hadn't said a word. Get all the way down to the highway. As I'm turning left on the highway, it's like diarrhea coming out of her mouth. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Why did they let her out? Did you see her? Can you believe she's out? I don't know what she's doing. Why is she out there? And I'm like, the supermodel? And she's like, yeah, don't you know who that is? And I said, I do not. But I like a good story, So tell me the story. So she tells me the story. What happened was she came home one day from work, and she comes into her house. She lives with her husband, 2 kids, and nobody's there, which is odd. So she goes in, looks around, can't find anybody. Nobody's there. That's odd. So she goes next door to the neighbor's house, and she goes in the neighbor's house, It's not locked. They're best friends, and, their kids play with each other, and the husbands know each other. And there's no one there. And she's like, that's odd. So she goes upstairs because they have a bonus room upstairs and gets to the top of the stairs. There's no one there. That's odd. Then she hears something down the hall. So she walks down the end of the hall into the bedroom, and she finds her husband on top of her best friend. And, of course, I'm sure he was changing a light bulb naked. So
Right.
he slipped and fell. It happens a couple times. We've heard that before. So anyway, she yells. He jumps up. No, it's not what you think. Not what you think. Not what you think. So she says what any woman says when they come in that situation. Do not come home or else I will
Kill you.
Okay. So what does he do? He gets up, gets dressed. He goes to the house, their house, and he finds her. And she's in the kitchen with a hatchet. Wow. And so she hacks him up into pieces.
What?
Then she goes next door and finds the neighbor, and she hacks her up into pieces.
Wow.
And then she waits for the husband to come home, who has all the 4 kids, and they went out to get, I can't remember, pizza, ice cream, something. And she hacks them all up into pieces.
The kids?
Everybody.
Wow.
So then she goes home.
What?
She makes a big old pitcher of lemonade, and she comes outside, sits on the front stoop, picks up the phone, calls 911, and says, I just killed all these people. What? I just killed the people. Why did you do that? Because they had to die. So, needless to say, she's in prison for the rest of her life, and that's the end of that. So,
what the heck, bro? Like, wait a minute.
But in class, he uses this story to teach you that you never know what a bad guy looks like.
Of course, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You go, no, you can't tell.
You can't tell.
You have no idea. You see people all the time, and your assumption is, oh, he looks like a cool cat. He looks like a good dude. Your producer looks like a good dude, right? And then all's good, and then one day he gets arrested, and you find out he's got like 7 dead girls buried in his backyard.
Wow.
You're like, what the hell? Like, I know that guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So you really don't know.
Right.
So anyway, so then what happens is, about 6 months later, there's a multiple stabbing in the prison, which requires multiple law enforcement agencies to come. And because we have federal inmates that are in the system mixed in with the state inmates and all that, then obviously federal has to come. So
Right.
marshals come. So we come there, and there's like 420 women in this one room. It's like a gym. And they're all in there up against the wall. And so we all get there, different departments and agencies and so forth. And of course, nobody saw shit. Nobody knew shit. Nobody.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. You were all there.
Ain't
right?
nobody
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
stitches.
Yeah.
Nobody knows nothing.
Stitches get stitches yet.
So we hate those kinds of things because they take forever. It's like, just cancel Christmas. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Weeks. So anyway, we're all standing around going, oh, man, this is like awful. And in the back corner, the supermodel stands up. And she says, can I talk to the marshal? And they're all looking at me, and I'm going,
Do you have a hatchet?
Right.
So she comes over, and, she gets about 20 feet or so away because, there are rules. You can't get too close.
Yeah.
And she says, I hear you're a pretty good guy, and, Cricket's your friend. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I really call her my friend. I'm the one that put her here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but we get along. It's all good. So she says, well, I know you come here periodically, and I hear you're a pretty nice guy and stuff like that. And, I'm wondering if next time you come here, if you would, visit me a little, because nobody comes to visit me. And I'm like, bitch, you killed everybody you know.
Yeah.
Why would they come visit you?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I don't normally come here to visit people. That's not really my job. I don't know when I'll be back. Depends on what's going on. I have other things I do. I said, but I'll tell you what, next time I am here and I do have time, if it's possible, then I will spend about 10, 15 minutes and talk to you. Because I don't mind talking to people because I like, to hear stories, and I might regurgitate them later now.
Right.
So needless to say, I say, okay, yeah, that's fine. Next time I come, I will. So she goes, okay, would you like to know what happened here today? I said, I would love to know what happened here today. She said, okay. She turns around, starts walking to the back, and goes, bitches, you better start talking or I will find you. 6 women.
Wow.
6 women jump up. Now they want to tell the whole story about who did this and why and how. So all the cops and everybody else are like, damn.
Wow.
That's your girlfriend. So that's the story of my girlfriend, not my girlfriend.
But
However.
wow.
So
I want to.
anyway.
You talk about something that I think that a lot of people don't think about. And it's weird because it's something we take for granted. And that's having a plan.
Yes.
We're going to, Steve and I and James here, we're going down to Fremont Street. Mm-hmm. We're just going to go down there and look for some girls and holler at some people and just, watch the freak show that is Fremont Street.
Yeah.
Why do we need a plan?
So you never know what's going to happen. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know how it's going to happen. And you don't know what you're going to do after it happens. So the simplest of all plans is, if the world ends, a major thing happens, where do you go? Where do you meet? When do you meet? And why? So let's say y'all are together. You see one girl, he sees another, you see a third one. Y'all kind of drift off and do your thing because, that's what we do. So the next thing you know, shots are fired, somebody drives through the middle of the crowd, something blows up, catches fire, whatever, and everybody scatters. Where do you meet? Do you meet at the car? Cool. What if the car you can't get to because whatever happened is there? Where do you go? Do you come here, which might be the next stop? It's like, listen, if we get split up, come back to the station. All right? It's not that far away, and you can hoof it and get there. But what if you go one way, he goes another way, and you go the other? Now you got to find each other if you can find each other. And let's just add one thing to the pile. The phones are not working or this and that. And I brought this up because of the October 1.
October 1, right? The law enforcement jams or
everything.
Phone signal. So you can't pick up the phone. And that's...
You can't call anybody. You can't
And they
find
do
anybody.
that because they don't know what the situation is. If it's a terrorist situation, they don't want them to be able to communicate with each other. So everything gets jammed up because they're trying to stop the communication between them. So if
Yes.
we're on Fremont Street and somebody starts shooting, again, law enforcement doesn't know what's going on right away.
Not initially,
Right.
right?
Right.
So what happens is people scatter, and all you're thinking about is get the hell out, right? So you get the hell out, go somewhere, and then your assumption is, I will find my boys later.
Right.
Okay, but where is later? And let's say for example, your car is parked at the D, and it's in valet.
Yeah.
You ain't getting your car.
No.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
anytime
Right,
soon.
right, right.
Okay, so going to the car is a waste of time. Plus, the cops are all over the place, and they're not gonna let you get anywhere near there because maybe that's where that occurred.
Right.
So where do you go? So you guys are here at the station. You're like, listen, it's not that far. We'll hump it to the station, sit tight, wait, and go from there. If you know somebody that lives in the area, maybe you go there. But if you don't have a plan or at least a thought or an idea, generally you just like wandering around lost, can't call nobody, don't know what to do, don't know where anybody is, and it's confusion. You'll end up with things like in this case, a day or two goes by, and not to mention, you've got 40,000 people. You got a lot of people from out of state, have no idea where they are, don't know where to go, and so what happens is it takes a while to find people, and then you're hoping, okay, you can't find your boys, but you hope they're not hurt,
Right.
and then you start thinking, well, maybe I should go to the hospitals. Well, so is everybody else. So it's
Right.
it's just mass confusion. So like what I told the story about, it's like, I grew up in Southern California. I'm an LA boy, and SoCal all the way, right? It's cool. We would go to Disneyland, right? Are you SoCal? Okay, cool. Where at? Hold on.
I'm from Los Angeles. You see all this
Where?
paraphernalia. Los Angeles,
Where?
Angeles.
LA, like where? 135th and Gramercy?
King
What?
and Western, if you know
King
it.
and Western.
Los Angeles, Los Angeles.
Okay. Mid City, right? Crenshaw, 21st Avenue. Okay, all right. So 135th and Gramercy. That's another.
But this is something that even mothers should do with their children, even if they're just
Yes.
going to the mall.
So we go to Disneyland, and the first thing we do is we say, okay, we grown now, so we're going to go out, run around, do whatever, right? So 12:30, have your happy ass in front of the Matterhorn so we can meet up. Then we can check in, make sure everybody's good, pass all the money, get some money, whatever's going on. And then, we disappear again. 6 o'clock, have your ass in front of Main Street. You have a plan. So whatever happens, if it happens, you know what you should do. Most people today do not ever think about that. So when
It's something
goes
that
wrong,
nobody ever thinks
they're
about.
just gone.
You think
Yeah.
like when you're taking the girls to even Walmart, right? Like you have 3
Yeah.
young daughters. Like
Yeah.
when you go to Walmart, like you should have a plan at Walmart, right? Because Walmart is not like the safest place in the world.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
and they know, like I told you this the other day, like my oldest, like she knows a little Krav Maga, right? So she learning how to fight, learning self-defense. I'm starting to teach her like rules of firearm safety, things like that. You know what I mean? Just to get her into the next step.
Good dad. Good dad.
Yeah, my 5-year-old is learning a little bit of combat now. I'm trying to teach her to just throw a good punch. But like in teaching these things, we go to Walmart one day, and I just had those two with me, and as I'm about to go in, they said, "Can we stay in the car?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I turned, and I said, "No, come with me. Y'all not staying in the car." And my oldest was like, "Why? Why can't we stay in the car?" I said, "It's not safe." I said, "If something happens, I can't get out here in time." She's like, "I got my cell phone. I'll just call you." Like, no, just come with me. It's not safe. Here's why, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm telling her, like, someone could try to kidnap you. Another car could just hit the car while you're in it, and I wouldn't know. All these things that could happen. And she says to me, she's like, "Well, what's the good in you teaching me Krav Maga if you're not going to ever let me use it?" And you know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to teach this child, like,
So
I'm
funny.
teaching you how to fight and defend yourself, but not so you can go around beating up bad guys. Like, that's not the point.
Exactly.
It's if you have to use it. So it's funny because it's coming from a 9-year-old, you know what I mean, who wants to know it. But these are things that people don't think about. Like I tell people all the time, we live in a completely different planet that we did when we were kids. In the 80s and 90s, we sat in the car while mom was in the store for what felt like hours,
It's
right?
crazy because when my kids were younger, I used to hate to run into the store because for millennials out there, at one time you could not pay for gas at the pump.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
actually
yeah.
had to physically go into a store to pay for gas.
Right.
And my kids were in car seats. So to take them out of a car seat, 2 kids, and then put them back into a car seat was a big pain in the ass.
It's a chore.
Right.
So I was always freaking about like running into the store, and I'm always keeping my eye on the car,
Mm-hmm.
But now we don't have that issue because you could
Right,
just
you can just pay at the pump. You
Right.
don't have to leave. Yeah, they sit in the
Right.
car.
Um,
And you're right. It's not the same. We used to, just going back to that, you know, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I know he looked like he's a little young. You know, I'm a little old. I'm a little old. You know, but you know, we used to be able, you know, go outside and play. Go find your friends and play.
Yeah.
Okay, bring your ass home before the streetlights come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd be gone all day. Our parents had no idea.
You
where
would
we were.
would show up when you were hungry for lunch, and then
Yeah.
you'd eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and be back out the door.
May not be your house, may
Right.
not be somebody else's house, but you know, you would get fed.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, you might be gone from 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, depending on what time of the year it was. And you know, but nobody worried because you know you were somewhere in the neighborhood.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, usually you weren't too far away. And you know, if Mama yelled out the door and called you by all three of your names, you knew you need to get your ass home, right? So it's not that big a deal. But now, you know, like my son, he's 21, right? He's at UNLV, he's doing well, all good, you know. But I would never have let him like leave and be gone. Like, oh boy, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Where are you going to be? Who are you going to be with? Who are their parents? I will go see them. I mean, and it's not, and listen, it's not being paranoid or crazy, but the world today is not the same
Right.
as the world before.
Right.
And you have to adapt to that. And yes, they all have cell phones and this and that. And, you know, you could track them, you know,
Right.
if you need to. Or
No, I
whatever.
track my daughter every day. Like she's 20
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old, and I track her every day. Like if she doesn't text me in the day, I hit that track her cell phone and find out where she's at,
Yeah.
and then I'm texting her like, "Why are you over in North Minneapolis? You ain't got no business being over there right now." She's like, "Dad, I'm okay. Leave me alone." Like, yeah.
My son's first car, I got him an older Jeep Cherokee, right? I put a tracker in it. And I said, listen, you can only have one person in the car with you. You're 16.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're lucky you have a car because it was either an older car that I felt you were okay to have or it's a bus pass. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's how it is. You know, you've grown, but you're not that grown. So he was good. And you know, I said, you know, here's where you go. He played football, you know, so football, maybe drop one kid off because he had a kid live near us that, you know, do the rides thing. And all that stuff was good. But you know what? If I looked up that thing and that Jeep was someplace it was not supposed to be, I can shut it off, come get it, come find you, and then get you a bus pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it worked. And all the other kids, you know, because I coach football too, all the other kids were like, they're like, yeah, Coach Eric don't play. He don't play. He said he don't play with us. He don't play with them. He sure as hell don't play with his boy.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, because, you know, even though it's 2020, and now with all the stuff that's going on, it's just, I mean, we never, you know, he's from LA, right? We never really grew up with the craziness that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like now, it's just like,
And it's getting worse, right? Because of all the protests, and not necessarily the protesters, but the people who are
the people
using
with the protesters.
the people who are using this time to take advantage of the protest and do things that, you know, the extremists on each side, right and left. So, God, there's so many places where to go to this. Let's start with something. I don't want to say it's simple because I don't think it's simple. We see a lot of TV, right?
Mhm.
I would consider you 10 years U.S. Marshal's Office, 10 years Sheriff's Department in Missouri, and you've been teaching safety, handgun, and all that stuff and laws for how long?
35 years.
35 years. So you could say you're an expert on this stuff.
Yeah, I know a little bit.
We see stuff on TV all the time, right? Guy walks into my house, I just shoot him immediately because I think he's a threat.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Well, not for just that. I mean, there's going to be questions.
Right.
So, okay, let's say you're at home, you're with your girl, you're watching TV, you know, bad guys kick the door in, and they come in and attack you. You fight them, you shoot one goes down, one runs away. Okay. Call the police. Obviously, you need to give them all the information that you need. We
What
get
information should I give him?
Okay.
This
So-
is a big question because this is something like
All right.
people don't think about.
So let me
right?
do
And
the
this
whole
is
thing.
why I think
I'll do the whole thing.
people should have to take a class
Yes.
on how to own a gun, because probably 25% of the class that you teach on CCW is how not to get shot by the police.
That's right. Just like Chris Rock said. Just like Chris Rock said.
Like you teach, I mean, and it's something that's crazy because you think I just defended my home, I just shot somebody, I'm in the right here,
Yeah.
but the police are going to show up and probably shoot me anyway unless I do what?
Well, you know, I would like to think they won't, but here are the things that you have to think about. You got to look at it from both sides of the coin. Okay, so let's go with the same scenario. You and your girl are watching TV. Two bad guys, two shitheads, two assholes, kick the door in, come in, try to kill you both. Okay, you fight them off, get your gun, shoot one, other one runs out the door and he's gone. Don't go after him. That's number one. Okay, second of all, First guy's laying on the ground. So all my bad guys, like we said, are shitheads. You got Johnny, Joey, Bobby, Daryl, and Jane. So Johnny and Joey shithead kick the door in, try to kill you and your girl. You shoot Johnny, Joey runs out the door, and he's gone. Okay. So what's the first thing you do? First thing you do is you're like, damn, I can't believe I just shot somebody. Okay. Second thing I do is I got to call the police. What do you need to tell the police? And they're the police.
This is very important, though.
Okay. You need to tell them who you are, what you look like, what you're wearing, who you're with, what they look like, and where you are right now.
Should I be in my house still?
Well, here's the thing. When the police get the call, shots fired in a house, okay, all they know is somebody got a gun, somebody got shot.
Mm-hmm.
So their adrenaline kicks in, their endorphins kick in, and they're like, whoop, 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 and they're coming, right? They don't know nothing more than the information they get on there. They show up at the scene, and this happens a lot, okay? And I can give you some examples. We'll see what the time and all that stuff is. But they show up at the house, and here's what they see. Without knowing who's who and what's what, they see black man with a gun, holding the gun over, let's say, it could be black, white, yellow, green, red, don't matter, over a guy on the ground. So you're holding a gun on the guy on the ground, they come in the door. Usually there's a couple of them that come in the door, and here's what happens. They all start yelling. First one says, don't move. Second one says, turn around. Third one says, get on the ground. Fourth one says, drop the gun. And they're all yelling at the same time. Which one do you listen to?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you do, one of them is not going to be happy.
Uh-huh.
Could you get shot?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay. So how do you keep that from happening? It's very simple. You shot Johnny, Joey ran out the door. Generally, he's not coming back, but you have your gun. Gun goes back in the holster. Call 911. 911, what's your emergency? 2 bad guys broke in the house, tried to kill me and my girl. Shot one, the other one ran out the door. I live at, you got my address? Cool. I am how tall are you?
6 foot.
I'm a 6 foot tall black man. I got a beard, mustache, got my Vegas Golden Knights black shirt and gray shorts and tennis shoes. Okay. My girl is, 5'6". Do not tell weight, because you'll die. Okay. And this is where we are, and so forth and so on. The next question of the day is, where are you going to be when the police show up? Now, do you want to be standing there holding the gun over them? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Confusion with the police is always bad. Okay? So, what are your options? I got to do something. I don't know what to do. Here would be my suggestion. Okay? You got one down, one gone. How many people are in the house? Get all the people in the house outside, cross the street. Why? Okay? Whatever's happening in the house, you do not need to be there. Whatever's happening outside, it's only you and your family with descriptions of what you look like, who you're with, and all of that. Okay. When the police show up, they have 2 scenes to go to. They have one scene. They're looking for you. 6 foot tall, black man, Vegas Golden Knights, black shirt, gray shorts. With your girl, 5'6", blah, 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 whatever. Okay? If you have your kids, you have your kids with you. All right? Who's in the house beside your family? Just the bad guys. Is your family going to go in the house when the bad guys are there? No, because you don't know what condition he's in. Is he hurt? Is he hurt bad? Obviously, when you shoot someone, the goal is not to kill them, but the possibility exists that if you shoot someone, they could die. All right.
But what if I feel bad and I want, and the guy's being, I want to go give him aid?
Okay. So you decide you want to go back in the house and give him aid. The police show up, and the first thing they see is you with your hands on Johnny, trying to, quote unquote, give him CPR. What might they think you're doing?
Choking him out.
Choking him out.
And what might they do?
Shoot me.
Shoot you.
Shoot you. So once again, you'd have been shot. As opposed to outside, cross street with your family, no issues, no drama, no mess, no fuss. The police show up. They're going to come out, guns out. They're going to take your gun, get your ID, all that stuff. The other cops are going to go in the house and find Johnny and Joey or whoever's in there. Whatever happens in the house, we don't care. Let's say you shot Johnny and Northtown goes in there and kills Johnny. Okay. Let's say you shot Johnny and Metro goes in there and Johnny's not quite so hurt. A fight ensues and they whoop his ass hard. Okay. The point is that whatever happens inside that house, we don't care. Why? Because we're not there. So if for some reason something happens to the bad guy inside that house, lawyers will get involved. The lawyers are going to be like, listen, I don't really know what happened inside the house, but I know my client and his wife and his kids were outside across the street when it happened. So
Right.
you shot Johnny with, 3 rounds of 9mm, and he got 8 rounds of 40 cal in. Wait, remind me, your department carries 40 cal? So basically my client shot him, but you killed him. So I guess no charges, he could go, right? But here's the deal. If you don't know these things, what you'll be doing is you will be standing there over somebody who got shot, holding a gun in your hand when the police run through the door. And the potential is you might get shot.
And so here's this is where I think a lot of people get confused, because I'm always advocating for get a gun and get trained, get a gun and get trained, get a gun. Like I probably talk more about training than I actually do getting a gun. But everybody, if you follow me on Facebook, my friends, my family, everybody knows that's what I preach. It's get a gun, get trained, because somebody kicks in your door, you don't want a fair fight. You want an advantage, right? So
well, if you're playing fair, you're losing.
right, exactly.
That's
right?
how that works.
Right. So, but here's the thing for a lot of people who are not trained, and even for myself, I obviously get trained, but the police do this 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, right?
Maybe,
right? Maybe.
Maybe.
But there was some training, right? So
they
the police,
have some training.
so the
Right.
police are trained, and you mentioned I shoot him in my living room. I call the cops. Cops get the call. Now their adrenaline's pumping, right?
Yep.
I'm the untrained person in my house, right? And even myself with training, once my adrenaline starts pumping because a guy just threatened my family, right?
Right.
I know what to do, and I may not remember,
Right.
because of adrenaline, right?
Right.
I'm a great shot at the range, but adrenaline pumps, and I miss a little bit, right? Things happen when adrenaline starts pumping.
Correct.
So a lot of times when law enforcement show up and something bad goes down between law enforcement and the good guy on the scene, right? It always seems to come back to point out, well, these are all the things the good guy did wrong.
Okay.
And the cop was just like, he was doing what he was trained to do.
Right.
And that's the story that we hear all the time. Sometimes maybe the guy got shot, maybe he got beat up a little bit, sometimes he's even killed. So because I get this question a lot, or we hear it a lot and see it in memes and stuff. Why are the untrained members of our society always expected to remain calm in these high adrenaline situations, but the cops are kind of given this benefit of the doubt when they kind of fly off the handle in these situations?
So that's actually not true. Theoretically,
Mhm.
the cops receive a ton of training. Okay,
Right,
so
right.
the adrenaline's going to hit them, but it shouldn't knock their senses out of a whack. I mean, why? Because you do this, like you said, 12 hours a day. Okay,
Right.
8, 10 hours, 12 hours, depending on what department it is.
Right.
Okay, so theoretically, the more time you have, training, the better you are. You recognize this. It's not a holy crap, what do I do now? It's
Right,
like,
right.
oh shit, another gunshot.
Yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly.
And here's the thing: what separates the police theoretically from the homeowner in this case is the fact that the police should have more training, should recognize what it is. Okay, I will tell you this for 100% fact. This is the way it's supposed to be. 4 guys roll up the same scene. 1 guy's in charge. The other follows suit.
Right.
Should 4 people be yelling at the same time? No. Does it happen all the time? Yes. That's a
Right.
training issue. Okay.
Yeah.
If I roll up with the 3 of you guys on whatever it is happening, and I'm the senior guy and I'm the guy in charge, y'all need to shut the hell up and let me do this.
Right.
Okay. Is life in danger at that moment? No. Am I running this show? Yes. You follow along and do this.
Right.
But if I'm talking and you're talking and he's talking and he's talking, nobody knows what the hell is going on, including each other.
Right.
Okay. Now,
Right.
you go to the other side of the coin. You go to the homeowner, or you go to the civilian, the person out running around. A lot of times people do not think about what's going on. So I do this all the time in my classes. Okay. Johnny and Joey shithead kicked the door and came and attacked you. Okay. You shot one, the other one ran away. Okay. What's the first thing you're going to do? Put the gun away. What's the second thing you do? I'm calling 911. And here's what I do. 911, what's your emergency? Go.
What he's asking you.
Oh,
sir.
me.
Yeah.
Hey, some guys just broke into my house. I defended myself. I shot one of them. The other one ran away. I'm still here. I obviously need the police. My would be probably, I'm not sure if he's dead or alive, but he's in my living room. My family is here. How long before, can you give me an ETA on how long before police or someone can show up, and let the conversation roll from there?
But you didn't describe
Okay.
yourself.
Okay,
Of course,
so
right? Yeah.
See,
So,
right,
that's what I'm saying.
Right,
Like,
we
yeah.
don't know. Right, we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that this show was important today, because there's a lot of stuff that people just don't know. Like,
Exactly.
I was surprised to find out I have a gun in my truck right now. If I get pulled over by the police, do I tell them I have a gun in my truck?
No.
But on everything I've ever seen on TV, every movie I've ever seen, I have to tell them I have a gun in my car.
No. So state law allows you to have a gun in your car, loaded or unloaded, as long as it's a pistol or a revolver. If it's a long gun, you can have it in your car.
For those
But
who don't know, a long gun's a rifle.
Rifle-
Or an AR-15 is long. Like,
Yeah.
A rifle or a shotgun or a
Right,
carbine like an
right,
AR.
right.
Yeah. If it's one of those, considered a long gun generically, they have to be empty. So you have an AR laying on your back seat,
Right.
and you have 30 round mags laying next to your AR. That is not illegal.
Right.
If the magazine is in the AR, it would be illegal.
Okay.
Okay. And it comes from the old days of hunting and all that, but it's still there.
Right.
Shotgun must be empty. Nothing in the tube.
Mhm.
Period. Okay.
Right.
But a pistol can be loaded in the car. It's 100% legal. A revolver can be loaded in the car. 100% legal. Or it can be completely empty. It's 100% legal. Do you need to tell the police officer that you have a gun in your car? No. It's not a law. It's not a requirement. It's not anything. Now, the exception to the rule is, and it's not really a rule, it's a recommendation. If you have a concealed carry permit and you are wearing the gun,
Mhm.
I would tell the police officer, if they don't ask you if you have one, you can tell them, yes, I do have a concealed carry permit. Yes, I do have a gun. I have a SIG 229 on my right hip. And generally the police officers are like, well, let's not touch your right hip. Oh, no, sir, I will not do that. Okay?
Right. Right.
And you'll go from there. Now, is it a requirement that you have to tell them? No. I would suggest, as a recommendation from my time on the job, so forth and so on, that you do that. Most generally, police are like, okay, you have a gun on, cool, got your permit, cool, not a big deal. Now, is that everyone? No. So you'll run into some that just get a little carried away. Maybe they're nervous, maybe they're scared, maybe they don't know what to do and all that.
Yeah.
But see, that's a training issue again, though, right?
Again, it's a training issue.
That's a training issue where, like, and I'm glad you said that about police being trained and there should be one person. And the closest thing I can think of it that I have personal experience is, like, my ex was a nurse practitioner and she worked primarily in emergency rooms and ICUs.
Okay.
When they have an emergency in those rooms, none of those guys ever panic.
No.
They've been trained over and over. They've done gunshot wounds a million times. They have that mental checklist they go through, and it's just it's just like clockwork. They don't even think about it. It just happens. Why don't police do that? And that's training.
Some do, some do not. But here's the deal. Training comes from a place of a couple of different areas. One, you got to want to get the training. Two, you got to pay attention and follow what the rules are and everything. And three, it has to make sense across the board. What generally happens is some people, their training isn't that good, or they get rattled about what's going on, or, and I'll just say it, sometimes you just get scared, don't know what to do. Okay, here's the problem with that. Okay, I pay you through my taxes to do a damn job.
Right.
When you show up, I should not be afraid that you're there. I try to tell, like my son, my son's black, right? I try to tell him, I'm like, okay, you should not fear the police. Your dad was a cop for a long time. He still does a lot of stuff with cops. We still do law enforcement. My company, we do law enforcement, military training, as well as civilians. So you shouldn't be afraid of cops. However, you are a black man in 2020 right now, which, I never thought I would ever say that, right?
Yeah. Right.
There are times things just are not right. Now I've grown up, he's grown up. I know he has LA. You've been took out of a car, put in handcuffs, laid over the hood of the car because somebody thought they looked just like you. And it was not even a black guy.
Right.
But the thing about it is that those things do happen. I've been a law enforcement officer wearing a gun, carrying a badge, and had police pull me over and think
I'm going to get to this.
faking
I was going to get
and
to
all
this
that.
story.
So
Let's talk about you being a U.S. Marshal.
Well, hold on. Let me
Okay.
finish this. So you still have to know what the rules are and pay attention. So, all of us teach our kids when you're pulled over by the police,
Right.
hands on the steering wheel, look forward, shut the hell up. Yes, sir. No, sir. What would you like me to do? Whatever. Survive the encounter and move on. Some people like to get the camera out, do all this craziness and all this. And I'm telling you, if you have a problem with the police officer, best thing to do is survive the encounter, and then you can complain about it later. And it makes you mad. It makes me mad. Here I am getting pulled over by a police officer, and, he has no idea who I am. Okay, but he's assuming that I am, a piece of shit, and he's treating me like that. That's just wrong.
And this is, and
It
this
shouldn't
is,
be like that.
and this is a huge thing, because I talk to a lot of people, especially during the show, and people go, "Oh, that stuff doesn't happen as much as you think," and oh, it's just in your head, or oh, this and that and whatever.
Why are you laughing,
And
Eric?
and yet here you are, former law enforcement, and these very same things that we complain about have happened to you as a law enforcement officer.
Okay, I want to go back to the shooting inside the house for real quick, but then I'm going to get to you being pulled over as a black on duty. Two things I think people should know. When the police show up to your house, you're across the street. They ask you if you need medical attention. What do you say?
Always yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Always yes, for several reasons. Number one, first of all, you just shot somebody. That would be a traumatic incident.
Yes.
Okay? So no matter what kind of state of mind you think you're in, it ain't that good, because you just shot somebody.
Yeah.
So they come up and they say, do you need paramedics? The answer is always yes.
Yes.
Now, you may think you don't need it. Everything's good. What about the people you're with?
Right.
They may be losing their damn minds.
Right.
Let's say you're not at home and you're out with friends who do not know you have a concealed carry permit, because you don't want to tell them, because they may not be very happy about it.
Right, right.
Okay. So they may be flipping out because, one, you shot somebody, two, somebody's been shot, three, police are here, and you're trying to figure out what to do. They're trying to figure out what to do. It's a mess. Paramedics come. What do? Oxygen. They check you for heart attack, stroke, TIA, glucose, whatever. Make sure you're good. That's going to buy you about 20 minutes of peace and quiet, so you can calm down and figure out what to do next. And most generally, the police would like for you to get the medical, because here's what happens. I'll throw my little lawyer hat on, right? So, police come up, start asking you 1,000 questions. You're upset, you're traumatized, you're in shock. You start saying all kinds of this, that, and the other. Your attorney's going to be like, so, first of all, my client just shot somebody. Where were the paramedics? Did you delay or deny the paramedics?
Right, right.
If you delayed or denied them, everything that he said is no good anyway. So we might as well just throw this out, start over from the beginning. Why were you questioning them without making sure they were okay first? Isn't that something we're supposed to do? I think it is. So why did you not do that? Okay. Second of all, or third of all, are you the murder police? Are you the homicide detectives? So why should he talk to you anyway about anything at all?
Right.
And see, these are things rights that we have that we don't know that we have.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
you don't.
I was always taught, and probably I've taken, I think, 4 CCW classes since I lived out here, and in at least 2 of them, a guy told me, he said, call the police when they show up, ask for an ambulance or whatever. They can't really talk to you or touch you or do anything once you ask for an ambulance or a medic or something that way. When they come, they're going to do their test, and if they put you in the back of that ambulance, you call your lawyer. And he was like, that's basically it, and let your lawyer do all the talking for you, simply because you're like not in the right state of mind. You just shot somebody.
Well, that's the number one thing is that, okay? So you want the paramedics so that you can get your 20 minutes of being checked out for you and your family, whoever you're with. And that way you could at least calm down. Now you have oxygen floating through your brain. You could probably start thinking a little bit straighter.
Right.
Okay. Second of all, anything that comes out of your mouth prior to that, of course, everything is going to be used against you, right? Which is another reason not to. And then, the lawyer part's going to come back and go, why didn't you give my client medical? Okay. And because, in terms of building a case, now I'm gonna go back to the police officer side, right? Okay. First of all, I don't like to lose cases ever. And I don't lose cases ever, right? Because you got to know the rules. So if you shot somebody and I intentionally interrogate you or try to get you to say stuff, slip up this or that, that's getting tossed out. And, the lawyer's going to make me look like a knucklehead.
Right.
As opposed to make sure you get your medical, make sure your family's taken care of, build a little goodwill, all's good, everything's there, and then I can come back. Now, you may still not say anything, but at least we've done everything right.
Should I say something?
So there are several different schools of thought. The main 2 that we talk about, and again, I'm not a lawyer, not a lawyer, not a lawyer, not a lawyer, not a lawyer. So I'm not going to give you legal advice. So
we're a cop. We're a cop. We're a cop. We're a cop.
Used to be a cop.
So
however,
you got some inside information though.
I do. I know how things work and I know how things go. Okay, which is a good reason why I can tell you this. Whereas a lot of instructors, they cannot. They're guessing and hoping they're right. Okay, here's the deal. Okay, If you shut the hell up, all right, STFU, whatever, okay, and you say nothing, not a big deal, okay? Should you get arrested? No. Is self-defense a crime? No. Okay? When you do get arrested, typically it's for murder, manslaughter, or somewhere along there, depending on where you're at. Okay, here's the deal. That requires intent. So that means you woke up this morning, decided to go out and walk around with your friends, and while we're out here, I'm going to shoot somebody. That's basically what they're saying, which is not what happened. Okay, so you say nothing, your attorneys get involved, all's good, let them sort it out. Should they arrest you for that? No. And generally in this state, they do not. And the number one reason they do not do that is because, I'll throw my lawyer hat back on, my client is a fine, upstanding young man with no criminal history at all. He has a job, he takes care of his family, does everything right. He has done nothing wrong in the past, no reason to think he's done anything wrong now. The guy he shot has been doing this to people for every day. He's got a rap sheet a mile long. He's a piece of crap. Okay, so you're going to throw my client in jail because he defended himself from a known guy who's done this to people on a consistent basis. So now my client's going to go to jail. He's going to have an arrest record. He's going to have fingerprints, photographs in the system. If he is working for somebody, he's probably going to get fired, which means he can't pay for anything, not to mention take care of his family, maybe lose his house, cars, whatever he's got. Okay? All because you jumped the gun. Was it necessary to jump the gun? Okay? Everything about the case right now, because, even while you're getting your little 20 minutes of medical and all that, the police are doing what the police do, right? Audio, video surveillance,
Right.
witnesses, canvassing the neighborhood, doing all that thing. So by the time the murder police show up, the detectives, they have a pretty good snapshot of what's actually happened and might have video because, everybody got a camera.
Right.
Same light. Okay. So do I need to arrest you now? No. Do I need to ruin your life now? No. But if they do throw you in jail, you lose your job, have to take your family over a self-defense issue, which everything about we looked at is a self-defense issue, okay? Your lawyer's going to go, I'm going to drop a $10 million lawsuit for wrongful arrest against the police department, okay? Why? One, because they can. Two, because you jumped the gun. Was it necessary for you to arrest this man right now? Well, that way we knew where he was. Okay, pay $10 million.
Right.
And it's got to be like $10 million because the lawyer got to get
Then
like a third.
he got to get his money, and then by the time it gets back to you after them taxes, it ain't
six and change. 6 and change, roughly. So we might go 14. So you get, you get 10, I get 4. Right? But the thing about it is, and this is what I try to tell people in my classes and in general. You got to know what the rules are. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? What can I do? What can't I do? What will I do? What won't? And understanding why, because it makes a difference. I will tell you right now, people get shot. Do they get arrested immediately? Most generally, no. 12, 14, 18 hours. Even on people that, man, as soon as you show up, you're like, man, he going to jail.
Yeah.
Okay. But, and I'll give, our departments, Metro, Northtown, Henderson, Boulder City Highway Patrol, I'll give them props because they generally don't jump the gun. They take their time. They check into it, find out. And, from the other side of the coin, the cop side, listen, man, you shoot somebody today, if I know who you are, where to find you, and everything looks good, I don't need to arrest you today.
Yeah.
I can arrest you tomorrow.
Right.
I can arrest you next week. You ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And what do? I hunt people for a living. I'm going to find you.
Yeah.
So do I need to ruin your life and do all those things at this point? Dude, your life's already upside down because you just shot somebody.
Right.
Okay? And you got to deal with this, that, and everything else in addition to it.
All right.
Make sense?
You ever been pulled over while black?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't exist.
No, it's great. This is one of the reasons I want you on the show because,
ain't
you
no
are
black
very
man ever been pulled over because he's driving while black. No,
because your views are pretty conservative. You would say you lean conservative on most of your views, especially
very much.
But you are black, so you know that this exists.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a time you were in South Carolina. You're a U.S. Marshal, and you're on your way to head a task force.
Okay.
What happens to you on your way?
Well, so one South Carolina, but that's okay.
Oh, I thought it was South Carolina. My bad.
That's okay.
No.
But that's exactly what was happening. Okay. I was on my way. We were having a meeting. We had been sent there. We were going to do some work. And, usually there are multi-jurisdictional things if it's a large scale. So we have multiple agencies. And I was on my way to a meeting. So typically I'm wearing like jeans and a shirt. And I have my gun on. I have a badge on my hip. It's all good. No big deal. So I get pulled over for speeding, quote unquote speeding. I'm like, wow. Okay. So they come up and they say, well, the reason I pulled you over for speeding, then of course they go to, you have any drugs in the car, any guns in the car? And I go, I do not have any drugs in the car. Yes, I do have a gun in the car. It's on my right hip. I have my ID and credentials and stuff like that. So immediately he has to call for backup because, black man in a car, got a gun. So obviously I'm
Needs
a bad
backup.
So,
But you have a badge, right?
yeah, I
Okay,
have it
I'm
on, but you can't see it where
Right,
it's at
okay.
sitting in the car, right? And so now, of course, they want to get me out of the car, right? Now I've given them like all my stuff, but they really haven't looked for it. So they get me out of the car, right? And then they look, and then they go, and we'll skip the explicatives, right? But basically, this dude's got a fake marshal's badge, right? And the reason it's a fake marshal's badge is because they know black marshals.
Wow.
So
Wow.
two white cops. Apparently I'm lying, have a gun. So
Racism don't exist. No.
I'm going to jail. So fake, explicatives.
What year was this?
This was 93.
So it wasn't like 1958 or something.
Oh no.
Right.
I didn't become a cop till
Way past
86.
the civil rights movement, right? Like
Yeah.
wasn't like 1904 when
No,
us colored folks wasn't
I
supposed
was
to
in
be out on the
college,
street.
right? It's when I was in college, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
so
I was
this
just out
is-
of college.
Right. Okay. All right.
So
just making sure.
so they so now they got me cuffed and I got a fake badge, Negro with the fat badge. Okay, whatever. So the next guy that shows up is actually a sergeant, and he's on his way to the task force too. So he pulls up and he sees me and he walks up. I'm in cuffs, right? He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
So they go, "Yeah, we caught this guy. He's got a fake marshal's badge and stuff like that." He said, "Why is it fake?" Because they ain't no color marshals, right? That's literally what he said.
Wow.
And he goes, "Huh? Okay. Take the cuffs off him." And they took my gun and threw it over the hood of the car, right? So it's over like on the concrete dirt, right?
Wow.
So
wow.
I'm like, wow.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking, but like of course we grew up in LA, you talk a little bit too much to the police, they will hit you.
Yeah.
LAPD live, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So of course that never happened, right? Of course. You don't remember that either. No. So anyway, so they take me out of cuffs, and they get this all straight. They tell him, no, he is a U.S. Marshal, and he's on his way to the same meeting I'm going to. And where are you guys supposed to be right now? Well, we got this meeting over there where they're going to have this thing. Yeah, why don't you head on to that meeting and I'll take care of this. So they're going to the same meeting.
Wow. Wow.
So we have a few words, and me and the sergeant, we have a few words, laugh, this, that, everything else, all good. So go to the meeting. So I'm in the back. They're talking about what's going on. It's a great honor to be picked up with the marshals, as part of a task force. Great for your resume, great for your credentials, background. You learn a few things, get to see how other agencies do this and that. So let's go ahead and bring them up here. Call my name, have me come up on stage. And as soon as I get up on stage, right, you can see them two knuckleheads in the back going, dip, 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 dip. And I'm like, I already scoped the room out because as soon as I found out they were there, I'm like, so I'm getting to pick 6 people to work on this task force. So now I need to find 4. I'm taking them. Okay.
Wow.
So I talk about what's going on, this and that. Of course, people are raising their hands because they want to be involved because it's a great thing to be involved in those kinds of things. Like I said, great for your resume. So anyway, at the break, people are trying to, talk to me and this and that. And so the sergeant goes over and he goes, so what do you think about that fake marshal over there? And they're like, oh. And just so you know, he has decided he wants you two to be on the task force. So about that time, I come walking over and I go, so how are you doing again?
Yeah.
My name is. I get to pick 6 people, and I get to pick. So I'm picking the 2 of you. So go home, tell your families goodbye, make sure all your paperwork is in order and everything. I said, because, we're kind of quick, fast, in a hurry. We do some things. So, you're going to be right there in the front lines. Might be the first 2 through the door. Every door. I don't know. I'm just saying. Right? And the sergeant's rolling, right? Because I'm not saying it for a fact, but I'm kind of alluding to the point that, if 2 people are going to die, it's not going to be my guys. So they go and they talk to one of the captains and they go, so can we bow out? Can we be sick? Can we not do this? Now he knows what happened. He goes, oh no, you 2 belong to him. You know that color guy that's not a marshal? Y'all belong to him. Might want to be nice so you don't get dead, right?
I
And
mean,
of course, I would never do that because,
right,
you know, one, the paperwork is immense, but you know, I don't want to have any kind of black marks on what it is that I do because, you know, I'm a righteous guy and I want to make sure things are done right.
There's a saying that's, it ain't no fun when a rabbit got a gun.
Oh, man.
And
Oh, man. You know, where are you from?
St. Louis.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
That's country as hell, too.
some things we hear on TV a lot. Duty to retreat. What does that mean?
So we do not have a duty to retreat in the state. What that means is that in some places, before you do anything, you must try to get away. Okay? Now, no one says you have to, quote unquote, stand your ground and fight no matter what, right? If you can get away, if you see it before it gets to you, and you can, you know, like I said, dip out, move out, bounce, whatever, you know, that's not a problem. Okay? Me personally, myself, I do not need to be involved in anything. So, and you know, as a black man, I've been called every name in the book, as well as most of you have, right? Every once in a while I get called something I have never been called. And I'm like, I should write that shit down. I have never been called that before. Damn. But if I see something, and in the cop world, we call it JDLR, right? Just don't look right. If I see something that just don't look right, I don't go there.
Yeah.
If I see something that don't feel right, don't act right, don't seem right, I don't get involved. So if somebody starts some mess and I can leave, I will leave. Do not come after me, okay? Because if you come after me and force my hand, it could be bad. But if I can leave, I will leave every single time, twice on Sunday, okay? So
I think that...
do we have a duty to retreat? No. If you can go and stay out of it, I would absolutely do so. There are times when you cannot. So I'll give you an example. You're at Walmart. You're in one end of Walmart. You're in a corner by the wall. There's nowhere to go. People come around a corner, and they don't necessarily have guns, but, you know, they're going to stomp you in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the legal definition of when you can use your firearm is for serious bodily injury up to including death. And the definition of serious bodily injury would be broken arms, broken legs, broken back, broken neck, any organs, internal or external. So that means if somebody, regardless of whether they have a weapon or not, is going to stomp your ass in the ground,
Mm-hmm.
could that cause you that kind of damage? Yes. So you can use deadly force to stop that. So you're in Walmart with your daughters. A couple of guys roll up on you, and for whatever reason they decide today they're going to stomp your ass in the ground, which could cause you damage and hurt your kids, so forth and so on. You have nowhere to go because there is nowhere to go. There
Right.
are walls on either side. You can't get past them. So what are your options? Fight.
Yeah, you got to fight.
Or give up and hope they don't kill you and yours.
Right.
So most generally people are like, well, I might have to shoot this asshole. I don't know. I mean, I got to do something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not ready to go. I'm not letting my kids go. So I'll do as best I can with what I have. Okay. So the law in the state is there is no duty to retreat. I will tell you that if you can get out because you're not, you know, proximately close enough to where, you know, there's an exit, get the hell out.
Yeah.
But there are some times that you can't. Our state does not require you to back off from a fight, although they'll look at you and see what your options are. Now, I'll give you an example. Your oldest is 10, right?
9. Yeah.
9?
Should be 10 this year.
Okay. And you have how many? 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If you had to scoop 3 girls up and run, could you do that?
Not fast. You know what I
means-
mean? Yeah. Probably
means
not.
probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Probably
Which
not.
means your option of trying to retreat might not exist.
Right.
Okay. And who's gonna really bash you for that? It's like, listen, I got 3 girls. I couldn't pick them up and run if I want.
Yeah.
And, you know, oldest one want to fight anyway. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
hey.
Of course.
So, you know, just because an option exists, depending on what your circumstances are at the time, whether or not you can actually do it.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that you have to do. And one of the things that I talk about in my classes is that know your own. What can you do?
Mm-hmm.
What will I do? You know, and what kind of shape are you in? I mean, right now you look like if it was you and maybe you're a girl and you had to run, you could just run. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you. Right?
Yeah.
But what if your foot's broke?
Yeah.
Now you can't run.
Right.
So the whole idea about retreat or doing anything else doesn't exist because your foot broke
Right.
or your leg broke. Can't go nowhere. So now you have to fight or you have to give up. And some people go, well, you know, but you don't have to shoot people. You know, maybe they're just going to beat you up. And I'm like, okay, so let me ask you a question. How do you know an ass whooping is going to end and death is not going to occur?
Right.
So are they just going to like whoop your ass and then go, okay, that's enough and stop? Or are they going to whoop your ass and not stop and you end up dead or severely injured?
I always ask people that question too, because I'm a firm believer in if you're going to have a weapon to protect your house, it should be a firearm. Now, what type of firearm kind of depends on you, personal preference, what kind of house you have. There's other factors to like think about. But I always get the argument from people who say, oh, well, I got a bat or I got this knife, right?
Mhm.
And my response is always, well, what do you think is going to happen when you hit somebody in the head with a bat? Like, they're probably going to be pretty messed up. And more than likely, if you hit them as hard as you're probably going to swing, they might die from it, right?
Right.
If you have a knife as home protection, where do you plan on stabbing this person? In the hand, like, or the foot? Like, I mean, you're probably going to go for the body, which will probably kill them.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you, and I don't mean to be rude by stopping
No,
you.
I want you to,
But here's the problem with both the bat and the knife. You have to be close to them.
Right.
And
That's
if
where
you
I was
are-
going. Right?
If you are
Yes.
close to them, generally that's a problem.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The other thing is, and I say this all the time, bad guys don't travel by themselves. So you get your bat and go downstairs or other part of the house and try to find a bad guy, and you find one,
Right.
and the second one shoots you in the back of the head because you didn't know bad guys travel by themselves.
So it's not just
'Cause they
me who thinks that the bat and the knife is a bad idea.
Well,
or not a good idea.
Okay, I'm gonna go one step further. Okay, why are you searching your house trying to find bad guys? So let's say you're at home.
Mhm.
It's middle of the night. We'll just go with middle of the night. I don't know if you work all night or day or whatever.
Right.
Let's say middle of the night you're at home. Your girls are in their rooms, right? I assume they probably have their own room. So
Mhm.
your girls are in your rooms. You're crashed. Somebody breaks in the house. You don't know how many are there. You don't know where they are. 3 types of people break in your house: burglars, looking for stuff, don't want people to be around; robbers, looking for stuff. They'll take it from you, but they'd rather not have you around, right?
Right.
And then you have home invaders, killers, murderers, whatever. And
Right.
you don't know who's in your house. So let's say they're home invaders, killers, murderers. You want to take a bat, go downstairs and try to fight home invaders, killers, and murderers?
I don't.
Not generally a good idea because you don't know what you're
Exactly.
getting into. And you don't know how many are there.
Right.
You don't know where they're at. You don't know what their intentions are. So, you have to think about those things.
Right.
Your main goal in life should be to protect you and your girls, right?
Right, yeah.
Everything else is secondary.
Yes.
And a lot of people, they get excited about, I'll pull the gun, I'll take it out, I'll use it, I'll do what I have to do. Okay. And you're like, against who? How many?
Right.
Where are they?
Right.
What are their intentions? And you're like, well, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, why are you running around the house trying to find people?
Yeah.
I mean, and these are things that, people need to, take a second to look at.
Mhm.
Okay. The easiest place to be in your house when somebody breaks in the house is in your bedroom or in your kids' rooms with your kids. Lock the door, sit tight, right? Because if you're in your room, 100% on the defense side, they do find where you are, whatever room you're in. Let's say they are home invaders, murderers, killers, whatever. They have to break down the door to come in. And when they break down the door, they probably bought and paid for.
Mm-hmm.
In the house, called 911, secured your kids, back in the corner, everything's good. Somebody breaking in the door, man. And when police do come, get involved, lawyers, so forth and so on, you did not look for them. You were not trying to start something. You were definitely not on defense. You're definitely not on offense. You were on defense trying to protect you and yours. All right? It's hard to build a case against you when everything you did was for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to know what the right reasons are.
Right.
Okay, so we talked about duty to retreat.
Mhm.
And I know this is going to be slightly different in every state. What is stand your ground?
Okay, stand your ground falls under the same category. What that means is, can you defend yourself where you're at without having to leave, run away, hide, or do anything else? Part of it depends on the circumstances and the situation and everything that's going on. But basically, stand your ground is it allows you to defend yourself from serious bodily injury up to and including death. Okay? Here's the deal. The only time you can use deadly force to defend yourself or your others, okay, spouse, husband, wife, child, brother, sister, or like people, what the definition legally is, in your presence or company. The only time you can do that is when your life is in danger, okay? Not for property,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So if somebody wants your car and they're not trying to kill you, let them have the car and leave. Somebody comes in your house and wants to steal stuff from you. If there is no threat to you and yours, let them go. Stay locked away, let them go. Okay? Stand your ground also says that if you're in the house, they come after you, you have nowhere to go, you have a firearm or some means of a weapon, you can use that because you are on defense in a place you're legally, lawfully allowed to be. Okay? Right. Not doing anything that's wrong. And their intent, bad guy's intent, is to cause you or yours serious bodily injury up to including death.
Okay. Was Trayvon Martin, from what you know about Florida, stand your ground? Was that stand your ground?
Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, if you're not familiar with that, you can look that up. The biggest problem is with that whole deal is, one, George Zimmerman was told when he called 911, stay where you are. Don't go anywhere. We'll send the police. They can pick you up, take you to where you think this kid's going to be, and then we can get into this. Zimmerman decided, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go over to an adjacent area because I know that Trayvon's going to be walking down that street towards me. I called my buddies, my cop buddies, on their cell phones and said, I'm not going to be at point A. I'm going to be at point B because the kid's going to be coming down the street. They end up in the same place. Zimmerman shot Trayvon. Should have gone to prison. Did not. Acquitted. Should not have happened. The main reason is, in our law is very similar. It's called the original aggressor. Okay? As long as you are not the original aggressor, you have a leg to stand on. You cannot be the original aggressor when you leave point A to go to point B to cause a confrontation that would not have existed had you not gone to point B.
Right.
That would make you the aggressor. That would put you on offense. That would put you in fault. That should put your ass in jail and prison.
Right.
And it did not happen. We have the same laws here as they have in Florida. Florida also has the self-defense law. And the self-defense law basically states we don't care how the two people got together. We just care what happened when they got there, which is not correct. Because you don't think this guy just showed up out of nowhere and was standing on a corner. No.
Right.
He was here, saw Trayvon, had to move to a secondary location in order to confront him, which is what occurred.
Hang on a second. Hey, Quan, do you have another show? Can we go a little bit longer? All right.
I can always come back.
No, we would love to have you come back. Before we go, I want to talk about one more case, and that's Breonna Taylor. Because something I learned in your CCW classes, this is not that uncommon that police have the wrong information and go to the wrong house.
Okay, so go ahead and set it up.
Okay, so for those of you who have been sleeping and haven't been watching this show for the last 2 months, Breonna Taylor is Louisville Police Department. They have a warrant to go pick somebody up. This person is actually already in custody. Like somebody missed some clerical work. They go into the house, what's called a no-knock warrant. So they just bust in the doors. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend gets up, starts shooting at police officers because he doesn't know who's coming in his door. He thinks that they're being
He thinks he's being robbed.
Home invaders, murders, killers. Right.
Yeah,
he doesn't know.
Yep.
He does what he's lawfully allowed to do. He defends himself. Breonna Taylor's asleep in bed. She gets shot. I don't remember how many times. I want to say it was 8 times, but
like
I might be wrong.
Multiple times.
While she was sleeping.
Yeah, right.
And these police, some of them have been fired now, but none of them have been charged with a crime.
Okay.
And like I said, I learned this is not really that uncommon that people have the wrong information sometimes.
So what happens is typically in a situation you're looking for a bad guy, okay? And we do a lot of that, right? We look for bad guys. Part of what you're supposed to do is to figure out, one, do you have the right person? Okay, are they in the location and they're going to be somewhere where you can actually do something with them? Okay, which requires surveillance and, keeping tabs on what's going on, making sure you've got the right person for the right reason.
Right.
Then you got to have the paperwork because paperwork has to be legit. What are the charges that you're looking for them for? And then your decision, how do we get this person? Okay, no-knock warrants, they typically are used for higher risk type of people,
right?
Specifically because of A, B, C, and D. They're your murder, death, kill, super bad guys.
Right.
They're
you got to catch them by surprise. Is the thing?
Yeah,
like
the
they
plan
give you the
is
advantage.
We want to catch them by surprise. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Okay, the no-knock warrant, is just one of those tools. I got bad guys in there. I know there's like 5 of them. I know they're heavily armed. A lot of times we won't go no-knock warrant. We'll just blow the damn door down, right?
Right.
But you can't always do that because you just can't blow everybody up. So you decide you want to come in. Sometimes we know they're in one room, so we come in through the back. and you can go flashbangs and do this and that or tear the door, whatever. Sometimes you just knock on the door, and you say that, we're the police, come in and hope that they don't start shooting. But it depends on what the crime is. In this particular case, they were looking for somebody that they thought was there, and their information was not credible. The reason that they thought this person was there, the crimes that were committed did not rise to the level of no knock, bust the door in, come in, SWAT, all that in a box of chocolate. Okay. Now, so my question was, why would they use a no knock warrant on something like that? That's not really
right.
I would say, my opinion, that I don't think that was right. Okay?
Right.
Second of all, if it was a clerical error, which does happen, how come nobody's double checking?
Yeah.
Discount double check, baby. You got to check that paperwork.
Right.
Make sure that's right. Why? Because it makes a difference. And I will tell you that I've been involved, not personally, but I've been working at times when, a dyslexic clerk twisted the numbers and the house next door got hit and the people you're looking for are gone.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not good. And usually police departments, they got to pay a lot of money. Now, in this case, the boyfriend, man, all he thinks is, oh, shoot, home invasion, they coming in. Blah, 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 blah. You not taking me like that? And then, of course, what do the police do? They think they're being attacked. So now they start firing and it ends up being a mess. And then you get something like a collateral, which is horrible. Okay?
Right.
So requires more information, requires you to pay attention to what you're doing. The surveillance should have known they were there. But even before you got that far, you mean nobody knows how to look up the in custody and check to see, oh boy, they got picked up already?
That's my
And
big
it's
problem.
in jail?
I would
So
think
that's
like
a
if
failure across the board.
Right. So in this instance, because I always feel like, and every time the police shoot somebody, right? Sometimes it's going to be justified. Sometimes it's going to be questionable. Sometimes you got video and it's like, no, this cop did something wrong, right?
Right.
You have a situation like this, and at the end of the day, an innocent human has lost their life.
Yep.
Who is responsible for that?
So, I mean, there's always going to be multiple, you're going to go for multiple streams of income, if I could say it that way, because you're all everyone's trying to get paid.
Right.
Okay. The question of the day is going to be why, okay, and I'll use this example. Why were we going to that house? We're looking for so-and-so, but he was in custody. Yeah, we didn't know that. That's a problem. That's point one. Number two, why a no-knock warrant? Why are we coming in the middle of the night? Is it necessary to come in the middle of the night?
Right.
Okay, because it's not always. I can tell you I've arrested a lot of people and not had to go through in the middle of the night, scare the crap out of people.
Right.
I could come and wait till they get up, go down the street, get
Right.
some coffee.
Yeah.
It's all about how you're going to do the job. And some people don't do the job probably as well as they should. Okay.
Right.
Then, so you got the no-knock warrant. Cool. Why are we going at 2, 3 in the morning? Because we could do this at like 7 o'clock.
Right.
You got eyes on the house, right? Surveillance, theoretically. So they get up about 6:30, try to fix a little breakfast, this and that. You roll in, surround the house, knock on him. What's he going to do? He's going to come out shooting. Well, you already got the cops there. You've already told him that you're there. You're trying to arrest him for A, B, and C. And you're like, yo, dude, wrong house.
Right.
Wrong house.
Right.
Got my ID. And as a matter of fact, the dude you're looking for, he in the jail.
Yeah.
He was on the Channel 13 News last night. They arrested that dude. Could you please check? I mean, let me put some clothes on. And, there's a lot of things that you can do. But they're going to go after everybody. They'll go after the police department. They'll go after the district attorney's office. They'll go after the county they're in. They'll go after the state that they're in. And if they can make federal and try to make a case because of, whatever, they'll do that too.
All right.
Because deep pockets theory. So that's what that's about.
All right. Again, Eric Kelley, we thank you for coming in today. We're going to have you back because we have so many more questions. There's so much to get to in just a little over an hour.
And I'm having fun, too.
This is great. In our chats, everybody loves you. They think you're funny and they think you have great information and you're very articulate. I'm Dallas Scott, Hollywood Huff. We got our producer, James, in for Quantum 5-9 today. I don't know if we're going to do a show next Monday because of the holiday over the weekend, but we'll figure that out. Maybe Steve will be here. All right, guys, again, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram. It's The Negro Please. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube page. And don't forget to check out Vegas Hype Media. Thank you, guys.